Hello, and welcome to What Does Wellness Mean to Me? Our podcast where we will be kind of unwrapping different aspects on health and wellness. What does it mean to different individuals, kind of based off of their profession, what they do for a living, what they're passionate about. So today we have our guest, Dr. Chris Schumann, and he is with One Health Chiropractic in Frankfort, Illinois. Welcome to our podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good. Tell us a little bit about your business, who you are, kind of what you do.
So now for 9 years we've been in Frankfort. It's me, my wife Jessica, and Dr. Nishta Patel is also on staff. She's our new person as of 6 months ago, but she's fantastic. And yeah, we're just a chiropractic office. We like to focus on family wellness, family health, and obviously do injuries and all that kind of thing. But I think compared to the average chiropractor, we see a lot more children, a lot more kids, a lot more whole families versus just accidents or sports injuries or something like that. So we use the Gonstead system, which is just a certain method of analysis and adjustments, a very systematic approach to try to be as specific as possible when we're working with the spine and the body and that sort of thing. So that's the basic simplicity of our office there.
So what does that look like using the Gonstead?
Yep, Gonstead system. So there's technically 5 components that we use every time. And it's just a systematic approach for us to go through. We use x-rays, we do palpation, which is just, feeling the skin, feeling the spines, both on motion and static components of it. We use this little instrument. So basically it picks up heat, it picks up points and pockets of inflammation around the spine to help us see what nerves specifically might be irritated or affected in the body. And then obviously we listen to symptoms. They're going to help us to tell us where in the body we should focus based on how it's presenting in the individual and that sort of thing. And then we can just use our last component, which is visualization. How are they sitting? How are they walking? Do they lean one way or the other? Use all 5 of those components to try to pinpoint a certain spot to adjust on a person. And typically when we're working with someone, we might only adjust, two segments of the spine or 3 segments of the spine versus, maybe a dozen throughout the spine that you'll see in some different offices. So it's just a little more of a specific approach towards analyzing and adjusting somebody's spine.
You mentioned looking at people, how they sit, how they walk, and I laugh because I am always analyzing, people's gait, how they're sitting, how they're standing. Like you said, my daughter even bought me a T-shirt that says, "I'm not checking you out. I'm analyzing your gait." And I'm like, that is so true, because I'm like, something's wrong with his knee.
Right.
Look how his foot's turned in. Oh, he's limping on that side. I wonder what happened. I should go up and say something.
I think between you and I, the way we people watch is different than the average person.
People,
yeah, but
right.
It's one of my favorite sports is just watching how someone's walking
and trying to figure out what is going on. It's like, is it the knee? Is it the hip? Is it the ankle? Why are they leaning like that? Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. And my children always say, I will talk to anybody. So sometimes I will approach people, random people, and say, "You okay? What's going on?" And then that opens up the door to, stories about, "Oh yeah, this happened. I fell. I did this." I'm like, "Oh, I knew it had to be something just because of pain."
It goes beyond just what they're telling you. I mean, I think, when they say a picture paints 1,000 words, you being able to see or watch someone walk, for example, says way more than they can tell us.
Yes.
Symptom-wise for things.
It does, because they just think pain. It's just pain. I don't know. It just hurts.
Right.
Well, why are you doing this? I don't know. It just hurts. When I do it correctly, it hurts. This position feels better. So then they start that compensation becomes their life, then it starts working its way up the chain and start affecting other things. So tell me, what's your idea? What's your thought about wellness? What does wellness mean to you?
Yeah, wellness to me is kind of like a journey, and I think a lot of people see wellness as like the end game, maybe. I want to be well, I want to be healthy, but I don't know that you ever reach a certain level of health or wellness. I think it's the journey that gets you there, and all the components that go together with having a healthy lifestyle and that sort of thing. So wellness is just kind of a full journey approach with multiple components, that someone tries to live a wellness sort of lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I know a lot of people talk about being healthy, and it's like, in a attempt or in your goal to be healthy, there's really no pinnacle.
Correct. Yep.
There's really no, if I make it to the top of this mountain, I will be the ideal picture of health. Mm-hmm. There is always things, physical, mental, emotional, stressors that will come in and kind of throw a curveball to your
for sure
healthy approach to your lifestyle. And then will always be things, as we age, that will need to be addressed.
Correct.
I've been working with this 99-year-old lady, and she talks a lot about her goal is to walk without her walker. And we have difficulty even standing up. And so we're kind of retraining how to stand correctly. And she was like, I didn't have to think about this when I was a kid. I just did it.
Right.
Like, yeah. We didn't have to think about these things.
For sure.
Our brain figured it out. We figured out how to crawl, how to stand, how to run. We didn't have to think about the processes. But as you get older, things change.
Correct.
Bodies change. Strength changes. Range of motion changes. Things change. And now what once was easy is now a little bit harder, a little bit challenging. There has to be more effort. So the older we get, there will continue to be changes in our lives that we will have to overcome to be able to achieve that, or not even achieve. I hate to say achieve, because there will never be a 100% achievement of it, but on that wellness and health journey.
Correct.
I do feel like it's always something you will be striving to be the healthiest version of yourself.
Correct. So even someone in 99 years old with, maybe one specific problem they're working on, they can still live a wellness sort of a lifestyle, even though it may look differently than when she was 20, but she still has that goal to have, this one point of crisis that she wants to overcome, but she can still live a wellness lifestyle, which is cool.
Right. So hers is different. Yeah. Walking without the walker. She's like, I just want to walk without this thing. It gets on my nerves. It's not, running outside. It's not eating healthy. It's, and that's a good point, because everybody's vision of health and wellness will look different than the person next to him. So mine will be different than yours. Yours is going to be different than your wife's or your kids, because it's based off of, one, your history, your lifestyle, things you've gone through, and just your aspirations. Like, I want to be healthy so I can walk 2 miles.
Right.
I want to be healthy so I lose weight sometimes, or run a marathon. So it will all look different based off of who you are and your goals. And some people, it's like, I don't want to run. I want to eat what I want. I don't want to be active, but I don't want to have diabetes.
Correct. Right. Good luck.
So what can I do, on my journey? I don't want to add these other things, but so their journey will look different, and everyone doesn't have to be like, I want to run a marathon. It could just be, like I said, getting off certain medications. Maybe I'm not taking as many medications as I was last year.
For sure.
So it always, it can always look different. It will always look different.
The goal is dynamic too. It's not always just one goal. It's going to change and fluctuate with what you're doing. And
so based off of age, you may have a goal when you're young that will be completely different as you get older.
It should always change. Yeah.
It should always change. Yes. How do you define wellness in the context of your business or your industry?
I mean, you could probably do it in quite a few ways, but when we look at wellness as far as the chiropractic world, a lot of people come in with a specific issue, pain, limited mobility, whatever it is. So we call that kind of like the acute or the crisis phase. Um, as they're healing, the journey builds towards wellness. So that person, speaking of goals, that person's goal is to not hurt in that spot. Let's say it's a
Right.
neck pain or whatever while they're working. Well, great. If we can get them so they're pain-free while they're sitting at their desk, the next kind of step after that is wellness. You want to kind of maintain on the chiropractic side those changes that we've made structurally that give it your body a better balance or whatever it is. So that's where we kind of defined wellness, is once you hit that crisis or acute goal that you wanted to reach, after that it's more of just like a maintenance sort of thing or a wellness type of care.
How do you integrate physical activity and fitness into your daily routine to maybe enhance your productivity, or just how do you fit it in general?
I have 2 kids, so I chase them around a lot. So
And that gives you a whole bunch of
that's one
activity.
different way to do it. And it's, well, part of it has changed because of that. I think Jess and I were both very active people, and then our girls came around, and your time changes, and you don't, I think we don't put ourselves first. So for a while there, the physical fitness that Jess and I used to do basically was gone for a little while, and then we're like, oh shoot,
Right.
we're telling people you need to exercise, maybe we should exercise. So
Maybe we should do some of it ourselves. We're
Exactly.
going to show you what to do. Yes, you can have a busy life while exercising,
Right.
while incorporating.
Right.
Yeah.
So my goal with exercise is to try to go. I work out at a gym 2 times a week, mostly strength training, but I'll do some, a little bit of cardio sort of stuff too. I have a variety with that, and then on the weekends when I'm in town, there's a group of guys that get together and exercise. Our really only resistance is we use cinder blocks. Otherwise, it's like body weight sort of thing. So it's kind of a bare bone sort of thing on purpose. But it's just kind of that motivating factor of working out with this group of people too. So I try to get those 3 days at least of like a good solid 45-minute to an hour exercise in with that. And then the other days I try to walk at least a mile. It's usually more than that, but tends to change a little bit in the winter, if it's...
Especially if you live in Chicago.
Yeah. If it's 5 degrees and blowing snow,
Probably
I will say I get a little
not.
bit lazy on that sort of thing. But,
Yeah.
There's different things that we're trying to adapt with our house too, and to make no excuses on that sort of thing. So we've got a treadmill and rowing machine at home that when those days of cold especially do come around, that we'll spend, even if it's shorter than what I would like, maybe 15 minutes of a good solid walk, or 10 to 15 minutes of rowing and some other like real simple exercise at home. So it's not a huge time commitment at that point, but it gets the heart going a little bit.
And that's what we tell our patients a lot here, that you don't have to think. You don't have to, again, have this idea of it has to be 4 to 5 times a week. It has to be an hour. It has to be, you don't have to spend a long time. Often it's just moving. It's just getting up and doing something.
For sure.
Is better than nothing. And with my older clients who are, may not have a gym membership, or during the time when it's cold, I'm like, do you have a hallway?
Right.
They're like, yeah. I said, okay, set your stopwatch and walk up and down the hallway for 10 minutes without stopping. I walk all the time. No, you walk 2 places to do something, and you stop once you get there. But if you want to start incorporating, wellness, just set a stopwatch and continuously walk back and forth for 10 minutes. If you can do the 10 minutes and it doesn't bother you, add another 5 or 10 and keep going. If you do 10 and you're like, whoo, I am maxed out, then go and sit down and you've done your 10. But because sometimes we get in our head, oh, it has to be this, and if I don't do this, then I'm not doing what I need to, or I might as well not do anything at all.
For sure.
And I'm like, something, a little bit is better than nothing. Even if you have those little bikes, that they've sold on QVC, the QB or something.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm like, as long as you're moving it and it's not moving you.
Yeah, right.
They have some that move for you. And I'm like, it's not quite the same.
For sure.
That's more passive. We want you to be active. But even doing that, or if you have a bike at home, doing something consistently, like you said, to get your heart rate is a good form of just activity.
For sure.
You know, and now with all these smartwatches, they are so kind to tell you what you're not doing.
Yep. You've been lazy this last hour.
You've been sitting too long.
I think the important part too is just making a routine of it. You know, it doesn't have to be the same every time. Probably shouldn't be the same every time, but if you make it the same time every time and then vary your activity with that, I think it's just if it's part of your routine, it's part of your routine. Just like brushing your teeth. You probably don't think about it before going to bed. It's
right.
Part
You just
of your
get
routine,
up and you do it. Right. I have to do this before I do this.
Correct.
Yes. As things become habit, it doesn't seem like it's an extra thing you have to do. It's a part of what you normally do. And for, you know, as we're striving to be the best version of ourselves, there's always a, you know, if it becomes a habit, it becomes less of a chore.
Correct.
And most times when people are like, oh, I'm trying to get healthy, it's a chore. I have to, you know, do all these things versus I get to, or I am doing these things. So, you know, I'm like, just shift your mindset a little bit of not have to, because have to seems more, like I said, of a chore, of a, oh, here we go again. I got to get on the bike versus, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to watch the bike during the commercials or ride the bike. Sorry. Ride the bike while I watch the commercial. Add it into your day or, you know, into your normal routine to make it not seem like it's such a big deal.
For sure.